ATT Personal Tax, May 2014, Question 10, adapted for the 2021 tax year. My name is Omar Aswat. Kalinda acquired 100% of the share capital of Cary Ltd in 2008 for $25,000. On 23rd May 2020, Florrick plc purchased Kalinda's shareholding in return for $1 million in cash, 250,000 £1 ordinary shares in Florrick plc valued at £5 each, a $2 million loan note paying interest at 5% per annum, redeemable in sterling or US dollars in installments up to 2025. The loan note was valued at a 5% discount to par. Calculate Kalinda's chargeable gain in 2021 as a result of the takeover. So what we have here is the takeover of a company, which is Florrick plc taking over Cary Ltd in return for consideration. Now, generally speaking, in practice, this is what usually happens. You get a bit of cash, shares, and potentially a loan note. You need to keep in mind that the $1 million in cash is always immediately subject to CGT. Any cash received on takeover would be immediately subject to CGT. A takeover, giving you consideration also in shares, is usually covered by the share-for-share provision under section 138. And a loan note, now this is where it gets a bit more interesting, would depend on whether they are QCBs or non-QCBs. So whether they are qualifying corporate bonds or not. And the way they are taxable depends on what they are. This is a 3-mark question and goes further into another 2-marker on the next slide. But for a loan note to qualify as QCB, it must satisfy all 3 conditions, which are: it must have been issued after March 1984, which it has been. It must be expressed in sterling, which is the case here, and it cannot be converted into any other currency. Well, that is not the case here because it can be redeemable in US dollars. Therefore, this is a non-QCB. Gains on QCBs would not be taxable and losses not allowable. But as you can see here, because it is redeemable in US dollars, the QCB conditions are not satisfied. And therefore, this would be treated, this loan note of $2 million would be treated as a non-QCB. So generally, loan notes can be structured as non-QCBs by, for example, being capable of conversion in another currency, which is what you can see here. And a non-QCB is a chargeable asset for CGT purposes. Now, coming back to the original question, calculate Kalinda's chargeable gain in 2021 as a result of the takeover. The shares would be irrelevant as they would be covered by the share-for-share provision. So the cash would be immediately subject to CGT. Now, let's look at what has been received in terms of proceeds to begin with. So we have cash, 1 million. The shares, which are valued at £5 each, 250,000 shares at £5 each would be 1.25 million. So this is the value we're looking at. And the loan notes, and I will put non-QCB here, is at a 5% discount. So 2 million at a 5% discount would give you 1.9 million. So don't forget the discount. And that gives you a total of 4,150,000. Total proceeds is 4,150,000. Now, to work out the amount subject to CGT, the gain arising on the cash, we need to therefore have the base cost. And that would be 25,000 in total, apportioned over the different elements of the proceeds. So to work out the base cost, it would be 1 million for the cash over the total, which is 415,000, multiplied by 25,000, and that would give you 6,024. The same for the shares, which would be the 1.25 million over the total proceeds of 4150 multiplied by 25,000, and on your calculator that would give you 7530. And the base cost for the loan notes would effectively be the balance to 25,000, but we can still work it out the normal way, which would be the 1.9 million over 4150 multiplied by 25,000, which would give you the balancing figure of 11,446. Now this 11,446 base cost would be relevant when the non-QCBs are redeemed. Now in terms of what is subject to CGT, it would be the 1,000 proceeds less the base cost of 6,024, which would give you an immediate gain of 993,976. That is your chargeable gain on cash. 3-mark question, so you'd get a mark for allocating each of the proceeds or correctly working out the proceeds, particularly the shares and the loan notes with the 5% discount. You'd get a full mark for the base cost on the cash, and then another half mark for the base cost of the other items. The question goes on to say, following on from the previous slide, Kalinda redeemed 25% of her loan notes in sterling in March 2021. So same March 2021 falls in the 2021 tax year. Calculate the chargeable gain arising on the redemption of Kalinda's loan notes in March 2021. And this is for 2 marks. So we are redeemed 25%. We're calculating the chargeable gain arising on the redemption of the loan notes in March 2021. So what are the proceeds? We said this is a non-qualifying corporate bond, therefore subject to CGT. Proceeds would be the 2 million. So the total value of the loan notes is 2 million at 25%. Gives you 500,000 in value. The base cost, which we saw, was the 11,446, but we are only redeeming 25%, so that would be 11,446 also at 25%, giving you on your calculator, if you try it, 2862. Gain would therefore be 862, 138, 497, 138. This would be chargeable to CGT, and you get a mark for the proceeds calculation and a mark for the base cost calculation, 2 marks.